Hey, so I'm going to cover some of the class content that we use for our speaking classes. Lots of people have questions about them and they wonder what they're going to be talking about. So we have information on the blog and on the website, but it's good to kind of go through it. So first of all, it's totally focused on speaking. We don't do grammar lessons. It's just focused on getting you speaking as much as humanly possible, and they're designed to kind of push your boundaries and push you as hard as they can, and it's still being comfortable and enjoyable, hopefully. Um, so I'll show you some examples here in the bookings page. So in your bookings, after you book a class, you can just click on preview theme, and it'll show up here. I'll just move this. So all the themes, they've 10 questions. They have phrases as well with the English translations. They all have the English translations for the phrases apart from C1. And then there's the vocab section there, and then some images there to kind of look at, and some just something to have visually. So for the questions, there's no right or wrong answer. They're designed to promote discussion. Um, they're open questions and they're not yes no questions, and they all ask different angles about the same topic. So this A2 class, this is for work. Um, so the A2 ones would be about kind of everyday topics, like work, family, friends, that kind of thing. That's the kind of appropriate vocab and grammar for A2. But for us, for A2, you probably still need a decent speaking level. You still need to have very basic, but you still need to be able to have conversations in German. So a lot of A2s, they might not be at that level. Um, then B1, B2, they're obviously going to be more difficult. If this is B2 theme, this is conspiracy theories. So when you get up into upper intermediate, the themes are a little bit more involved. They ask kind of conditional questions. They're more about ideas. They're not about everyday tasks. And, it's good to kind of push you again, and it kind of pushes you for your opinion. But again, you don't need any information about any of the themes to take part. Our questions are designed so that people with zero information about the topic can really take part. Um, you see here the phrases as well. So the phrases, you don't have to use the phrases. They're just there to kind of help you if you want, and just the age, but you don't have to use them. And then say for C1, so stalking, so kind of a serious theme. So yeah, the C1 themes, sometimes they can be more serious, and that's deliberate because it forces you to kind of use more vocab than you might otherwise use, and just kind of really like push you and get you kind of digging deep into your brain, and thinking up ways that you can talk about a theme like stalking, for example, with a bunch of strangers and communicate. Um, so yeah, this is the format. And so the way it works is that everyone will answer every question. So if you're in a group of three people, you'll answer the first question, and then the other two will also answer the first question. Um, so that's why everyone can always answer them. And then when the teacher's in your group, they'll sometimes they'll kind of interrupt and they'll ask you different aspects, or they'll give you feedback on your German, or sometimes they'll get you to ask each other the questions. But overall, everyone will get to answer every question. And then there's also no race. You don't have to get to 10 questions. You can spend a while on one question, and it doesn't really matter if you don't finish all the questions, as long as you're generally speaking about the theme and speaking in German. So we this is a pretty tried and tested method for us. We've been using this for a few years now, and we've tried a bunch of different other methods to get you speaking, and this is generally the best one. We have a lot of topics. We have you'll very rarely hit a repeat topic. We have a few thousand themes, and we're always generating new ones. So the goal is, to have interesting themes that everyone can talk about. They're not too controversial, but they're also not too boring. And you should be able to use it in your daily life, because in your daily life, you will be talking to other people about these themes. So yeah, that's the kind of overview of what we talk about. So thanks for watching.